Care work is the provision of care to others such as children, elderly, and the ill. Women and minorities predominantly populate care work. There exists a sexual division of labor between men and women, and the belief that men are responsible for market economy labor, while women are responsible for productive labor. Unpaid care work is the level of care work unable to be accounted for and not allocated value due to various aspects such as unpaid overtime or family members taking care of elderly or infant family members. There is rational economic behavior related to care work because people usually consider the costs of doing the right thing in regards to provisions of care work.
Specific areas of care work include care facilities for the elderly, primary education facilities, and hospitals.
Care fields differ from competitive markets in terms of how they are paid for their production. In business, quality is easily understood when products are standardized and the exchange of products equalizes supply and demand functions. In the provision of care, this is not usually the case. The impacts of care work, such as healthcare and child rearing, are not immediate. The hierarchy above many care positions set rigid precedents for pay rates that are often difficult to leverage in negotiation. Employees in occupations not requiring higher education are seen as replaceable. An example of this can be observed in housekeeping and retirement home occupations. Policy recommendations to address care workers may be increasing opportunities for welfare programs based on compensating the labor input of care field occupants. This would lucratize the care field work, meaning more individuals will seek to attain these careers.
Gender and racial inequalities persist in the care work profession, creating occupational segregation and an increased wage gap. Predominantly comprised of women and minorities, the care sector emphasizes the intrinsic value of helping others rather than valuing the specialization. The motherhood penalty is an opportunity cost working mothers in the labor force experience in the form of systemic disadvantages in pay, perceived competence, and benefits relative to working women without children. Although evidence suggests the disruption of childbearing and child rearing from formal education or on-the-job training is not significant enough to explain the penalty of motherhood, a wage gap persists. Labor market discrimination prevents mothers from entering certain sectors of the workforce that require more stringent hours and limited time off. One example of structural lag that affects mothers in the labor market is the 9-to-5 workday in conjunction with most schools dismissing at 3 p.m.
If someone is living below the poverty line, they cannot afford the privilege of hiring quality caretakers and often have to forgo some forms of employment to handle the care. Income determines the quality and quantity of health care, especially for services not covered by insurance. Socioeconomic inequalities hinder access to health care based on levels of income. The second shift refers to the responsibilities of child rearing and house care within the home, which is disproportionately performed by women. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the average minutes per day spent on household activities are as follows. Food and drink prep, 17 minutes compared to 37 minutes, male to female. Interior cleaning, 10 minutes compared to 29 minutes, male to female. Laundry, 5 minutes compared to 17 minutes, male to female. Kitchen prep, 4 minutes compared to 13 minutes, male to female. Lawn and garden, 17 minutes compared to 7 minutes, male to female. Maintenance, 11 minutes compared to 4 minutes, male to female.
The nice person's dilemma can be described as the risk one takes by acting altruistically, without knowing whether or not the recipient will appreciate or reciprocate those actions. Care work, an inherently altruistic field, lends itself to the nice person's dilemma in many ways. Care workers often find themselves becoming what Nancy Fulbray would describe as prisoners of love. This refers to the freedom sacrificed when choosing to care for someone. Care workers are paid low wages and are limited in their ability to strike for higher wages because that would mean the consumers of their care would be left unattended to. This makes care workers very vulnerable to exploitation and is a real-world example of the nice person's dilemma.
Some reasons for inequalities in care work are that it is believed people in care work receive intrinsic value from helping others. Therefore, it must compensate for receiving less pay. Also, markets functioning on the basis of self-interest exacerbate inequalities in care work because care work is concerned with dependency on others. Income and care are related to socioeconomic inequalities because if a person is in need of care, it most likely means that they cannot take care of themselves, and needing care badly tends to make a person poor, without affluent friends or family to pay for care.